Welcome to Quantumly Kinky with Veda, where we talk about sex, Chinese medicine, and character development for the multidimensional you. Episode 34, Speak It Into Being, Taoist Medicine for Expression and Freedom. Welcome back to Quantumly Kinky. I am your host, Dr. Veda, and you have stepped into your weekly portal where we talk all about the body as technology, pleasure as frequency, and eros as the doorway to multidimensional truth. Today's episode is an invocation, not of politics and not of prescriptions, but of something far more intimate. Your freedom to speak, to moan, to confess, to chant your truth into the cosmos, and your ability or inability to allow others to do the same. Today I'm revealing how freedom of expression is the key to turned on living, because the same voice that dares to speak truth and allows others space to speak and live theirs is the same voice that fuels sexual vitality and circulates life force, as well as sustaining longevity. So today you'll be guided to explore your own relationship with freedom of expression, how speaking or silencing shapes your health, your spirit, and your capacity to live in alignment, to live turned on. Because freedom of speech is not just a law of the land, it's a law of your body, your multi-dimensional soul. And today, we're gonna feel into what that really means. And yes, I'm going to weave in someone like Charlie Kirk, because I believe figures like him exist in our collective field for a reason. They are archetypes. They provoke. And that provocation is medicine, if we can see it beyond the surface. So as you listen today, let yourself drop into your body. Feel how my words move through you. Notice where you tighten, where you open, where you feel turned on or shut down. Because speech is not just sound, it's frequency. And frequency is the direct current of Source, of God. It's creation, it's medicine, it's Shen. And Shen is the spirit animating all of our lives. In Eastern medicine, the tongue is everything. When I ask someone to stick out their tongue, a fundamental part of my diagnostic process, I'm not just looking at the color, the coating, the shape, the size. I'm actually reading their heart energetics. And the heart in Taoism is not just a pump, it's the emperor, the sovereign, the one who rules over the whole kingdom of our bodies. And the emperor expresses by speech through the tongue. Think about it. When you're in love, your speech flows. When you're heartbroken, your words get kind of tangled. When you're anxious, your tongue trips up or you can't find the right words. This isn't random. This is Shen expressing itself in accordance to your frequencies and alignment. Now imagine what happens when expression is silenced. When you bite your tongue. When you swallow the truth that you wanted to say. When you hold back your moan, your cry, your prayer. Your chi stagnates. The frequencies within are not flowing optimally when you do that. Your heart contracts. Your Shen, your spirit, it dims. And over time, that suppression doesn't just affect your mood, it affects your entire body. In Eastern medicine, chi stagnation becomes heat. Heat becomes phlegm. And then phlegm starts to cloud the Shen. And this is what we believe is the root of literally all mental disorders. This is how anxiety, depression, insomnia, and eventually maybe even physical illness emerge, all rooted from stagnated energy. Stagnation is the root of dis-ease, energy that is not flowing at ease. And with all of that said, freedom of speech is not just political, it's biological, it's energetic, it's cosmic, and it's required to ensure that our chi does not stagnate, that we stay healthy. Your tongue is your major transmitter. Your words are medicine or poison. And how you use your words reveals the state of your inner empire. Let's take a deep breath together. Now, let's bring in Charlie Kirk. Again, this isn't about agreeing or disagreeing. This is about archetype. He represents the provocateur, the one who disrupts, who agitates, who polarizes. And whether you love him or hate him, he pulls your Shen, your spirit, in some direction. Why is that important? Well, because provocateurs are here to test the field. They reveal the edges of our tolerance, the places where freedom of expression feels too dangerous, too offensive, too uncomfortable. So in Taoist philosophy, every extreme contains the seed of its opposite. For example, yin births yang, yang births yin. It's not punishment, it's medicine. When one pole stretches too far, the body of the cosmos corrects itself by conjuring the other. Heat burns too long, and cold begins to pool. Light shines too brightly, and shadow deepens to hold it. This is nature's rhythm, the eternal dance of balance. We live on a planet coded by duality. It's not an accident. It's simply the curriculum. This earth is a training ground where balance is the game. And the provocateurs, well, they are the teachers. Without polarity, there is no refinement. Without contrast, there's no discernment. So when someone like Charlie Kirk or anyone in the collective field provokes you, that irritation isn't random. It's the medicine of the moment. The question isn't just, do I agree? The deeper question is, what is this stirring awake in me? What opposite force is trying to surface so that I can become more balanced, more whole? The provocateur is not the problem. They are the necessary counterbalance. They push an extreme so that you can feel your edge, locate your truth, and find the midpoint that is authentically yours. In this way, polarity itself is sacred. It trains us not in comfort, but in clarity. When we try to silence the voices that we disagree with, we're not just muting them, we're muting the cosmic process itself. Think about it. If every extreme holds medicine, then to censor an extreme is to cut yourself off from its antidote. You deny the alchemy of duality. Instead of letting fire spark water or letting shadow sharpen light, you freeze the dance. And in that freeze, guess what happens? Your own body stagnates. And in Taoist medicine, stagnation is the root of all disease, physical and or mental. Qi must flow. Blood must move. Energy must circulate. Suppression, whether in the body, the culture, or the cosmos, creates blockage. And what is blocked will eventually erupt in distorted ways. Let's take a deep breath together. Quantum physics tells a similar story. Systems thrive in openness. A closed system without input collapses into entropy. To silence is to collapse possibility. To allow is to keep probability alive. So when you silence others, whether out of fear, outrage, or self-righteousness, you're not protecting truth. You're calcifying your own. You are becoming rigid, and rigidity always invites its opposite, decay. So freedom of expression, even when it's provocative, abrasive, or uncomfortable, is not just a political value. It's a cosmic necessity. The voices we resist most are often the very frequencies that train our nervous system to hold greater coherence. To silence them is to choose stagnation over flow. To let them be heard, even if you answer back fiercely, is to stay in the game of balance, where evolution is still possible. The provocateur archetype forces us into contact with our own inner censor. Because here's the mirror. Every time you wish to silence another, you're revealing the place inside yourself where your own voice doesn't feel safe. The words you won't let him speak are often cousins to the words you won't let yourself speak. The provocateur shows us our thresholds. How much polarity can my nervous system hold? How much contradiction can I breathe with before I collapse? How big can my Shen or spirit be before I start policing not just others, but my own soul? And this This is the spiritual medicine. Charlie Kirk or anyone like him becomes less about the words and more about the invitation. Can you expand your Shen, your spirit, your soul, enough capacity to hold discomfort, polarity, and contradiction without losing your center? Let's take a deep breath together. I want you to imagine your heart like a great emperor's palace. Voices streaming in from every direction. Advisors, fools, poets, warriors, lovers. Some bring harmony. Some bring absolute chaos. But the sovereign heart does not silence them. Immediately, the sovereign listens. The sovereign discerns. The sovereign knows even the fool has medicine. Even the agitator stirs something worth feeling. So the provocateur archetype is not here to destroy us. It's here to train us, to stretch the muscle of our incarnated spirit, to test our ability to stay present, to stay erotic, alive, and sovereign in the face of words that might otherwise send us into contraction, into restriction, into stagnation, and then into disease of the mind and body. This is the edge of free expression as medicine, and it's not always sweet. Sometimes it's sharp, jagged, and even offensive. And yet, within the polarity, the Tao whispers, this too is a path to balance. This too is a teacher. Let's go deeper. Freedom of speech is not only a legal right, it's an inner law of the cosmos. Energy moves where the organic direction of God wills it. And I like to think of God as the galactic ordering divination. In this sense, speech is a sacred instrument, a way that we tune the invisible architecture of reality. In America, the First Amendment protects your voice from government interference. But what about the amendments of our multidimensional soul? What about the sacred laws literally written into our bodies? Freedom of expression surfaces in the smallest and most intimate places. In the bedroom when you name the hunger that makes you ache and risk being seen. In your journal when you unclothe your secret thoughts and fantasies. In the mirror when you decide that you will look and therefore become the person that you choose to be. Those are not small acts. They are declarations to the field of creation. There are rules and not moralistic commandments, but physical, energetic truths inscribed into our cells and meridians that govern how expression becomes reality. Here's some examples. First, we have the law of resonance. Like attracts like. Your vocal frequency sets the tone for what you magnetize. Speak in low scarcity and you seed contraction. Speak in high, juicy possibility and you invite expansion. And then we have the law of coherence. When breath, intention, and feeling align, the system becomes a laser. Coherent bodies create coherent fields, and coherent fields hold new, expanded timelines. And then we have the law of information conservation. Nothing spoken is ever lost. Every declaration of your spoken word becomes stored as pattern. Whether it's DNA, an epigenetic signal, cultural imprint, but it's waiting to be read back into form because nothing spoken is ever lost. And then we have the law of entanglement. Your voice is never truly private. It entangles with partners, with ancestors and future selves. What you name in one room ripples into unseen rooms. Then the law of feedback. The body answers. Say the thing, and the nervous system will calibrate. Speak less, and your tissues mute. Speak more, and your tissues wake. And lastly, the law of embodied permission. Authentic expression requires micro approvals in the nervous system. In other words, the body must learn to say yes to itself before it can fully say yes to the world. So when we honor these laws, these sacred laws written into our body, we aren't merely expressing, we're coding. We are programming our biology and our timeline. So quantum physics isn't just a metaphor, it's offering us a language for what the mystics have said all along. Superposition. Before you choose a word, multiple potentials coexist. Silence collapses some possibilities. Speech collapses others into a lived reality. The observer effect. Observation, the combination of attention, intention, and voice, changes the system. Your noticing of something collapses probability into experience. Entanglement. Distant parts of you and others respond instantly. Your words can shift another's field without physical contact. And then we have decoherence and coherence. Coherence is the difference between noise and signal. The more coherent your system, your breath plus your heart plus your voice, the longer a new possibility stays real and resists falling back into old patterns. Information, your voice, is physical. And in modern physics, information isn't abstract. It's a real substrate. Your speech is information. Your body is hardware. And together, they rewrite what happens next. So when you speak, when you whisper, when you chant, moan, confess, you are performing a quantum experiment. You're collapsing probabilities, entangling futures, and tuning resonance. That's why small acts of you speaking your truth have cosmic consequences. So think of your speech as erotic. Every honest, authentic word is foreplay with the universe. It's a union with the field. and expression is how we penetrate reality and how reality penetrates us. Let's take a deep breath together. So I want to introduce a practice, something that you can return to every single week, a ritual to check in with your truth, with your spoken word, to make sure that it's not stagnating. So close your eyes, take a deep inhale through your nose, filling your lungs, filling your chest. Now exhale slowly as if you're clearing a path inside yourself. Now bring awareness into your body. Ask yourself, where am I holding back my voice? Scan slowly. Is there a tightness in your throat? A weight in your chest? A knot in your belly? Notice where the body clenches around the words that you haven't spoken. Let your hand rest on that place. Just hold it gently. Breathe into it. Imagine your breath softening the walls around the unsaid truth. Now bring to mind our two questions. How may I serve? And what is your will for me? Let these questions land in your heart. Feel them echo into the place where you are holding tension. What truth rises in response? What words, sounds, or images begin to press against the inside of you, asking to be let out? You don't have to speak them perfectly, and you don't have to explain them. For now, simply let the sound form. Maybe it's a word, maybe it's a cry, maybe it's a whisper. Place the tip of your tongue against the roof of your mouth, behind your front teeth, completing the circuit. And let the sound travel from your heart through your tongue into the world. Do you feel release, resistance, tears, turn on? All of it is medicine. This is your weekly check-in. Come back to it again and again. Ask our two questions. Find the place in your body where truth is being held hostage, and give it a voice. Because every time you let that truth out, no matter how small, no matter how raw, you strengthen your Shen, your spirit, your mission, your personal will. The time is not later. The time is not when it feels safe or when the world is quieter, or when someone gives you permission. The time is now. Now to check in with your heart. Now to get right within yourself. Because every truth you withhold delays your destiny. And every truth you speak clears your path. Your body knows. Your Shen knows. So let your tongue serve the Tao. Today, not tomorrow. Thanks for listening to today's episode of Quantumly Kinky with Veda. Stay turned on. Till next time.